The last thing Captain Elias Trent remembered was the blinding light tearing through his cruiser's hull. A Varkari plasma, lance blue hot and merciless, had sheared straight through the bridge. There had been screams, the sound of decompressing. Air, then darkness, then silence. For 3 centuries, when Elias opened his eyes, he was no longer aboard the Defiant. The soft hum of ancient machinery echoed around him. A single robotic eye stared down, flickering. Stasis cycle complete. Subject: Elias Trent. Status: revived. Year: 2815 Standard Galactic. His mind reeled. 2815? That's impossible. The war had just begun in 2515. He sat up in a rusted cryopod, surrounded by shattered tech and vines that had pushed through the metal walls of what was once a high-tech medical bay. His body ached, stiff, and unused. His neural implant buzzed. Faintly alive, but barely. What happened? He croaked. The maintenance AI sputtered to life again. You will recover from the wreckage of the Defiant. Automated stasis protocol preserved you. Planet: Arcanus 4. Hostile zone. War zone classification: active. Active? Elias blinked. You mean the war is still going? Affirmative. Human Varkari conflict. Ongoing. Estimated casualties: 96 billion. Current status: escalating. Elias pulled himself from the pod and stumbled out of the structure. The sky was orange with twin suns, and the ruins of an old human forward base lay scattered across the valley below. He saw scavenged ships, broken mech frames, and bones, some human, some not. The war hadn't ended. It had metastasized. 3. Days later, clad in salvaged armor, Elias marched into the remains of Firebase Orion. A few surviving drones still patrolled. They scanned him, then froze. His ID code an ancient Earth Fleet priority officer tag lit up their systems like a nuclear flare. A voice burst through a nearby terminal. Identify yourself, Captain Elias Trent, Earth Fleet. There was silence. Then a face flickered on screen, young, scarred, eyes wide. Impossible. Elias Trent was declared Kier 300 years ago. I got better, he growled. Underground resistance cell. Sector 12. They called themselves the Ashes of Earth. Scattered remnants of humanity now lived in the bones of old fortresses, hiding from the Varkari orbital fleets. Children were raised on the stories of Elias Trent, the last Earth Fleet captain who faced the alien armada head-on, who disappeared. In the Battle of Vega Prime, when he walked into their command chamber, living and breathing, the myth solidified. General Amar Rix, leader of the Ashes, saluted him. Sir, if you're truly him, then we may have hope again. Elias scanned the map, flashing red zones, orbital kill rings, bioconversion camps. The Varkari hadn't just fought humanity, they had dismantled it, piece by piece. Hope? Elias said, voice low. Hope's a luxury. I want vengeance. A forgotten weapon Amar led him deep underground to a vault older than memory. Inside stood a war machine unlike any Elias had seen. A prototype from the old Earth archives. Ares, an autonomous humanoid mech powered by dark matter cores and neural sync. It was incomplete, she said. Until now. We needed a neural command interface. Your implant matches its legacy code. He approached the machine. It responded, metal limbs unfolding with a hiss. Lights flared. A voice echoed inside his skull. Commander Elias Trent, welcome back. Initiating war protocol. The Battle of Titan's Gate. 1 week later, the skies burned. Varkari dreadships descended like steel gods, unleashing plasma hurricanes across the ash-choked plains of Titan's Gate. But this time, humanity didn't scatter. They stood behind Elias and behind Ares. The mech moved like lightning, cutting through Varkari lines. Elias' mind was one with the machine. He dodged pulse cannons, cleaved through armored behemoths, and called out strike commands as if he'd never left the battlefield. The Ashes rallied. Their courage reignited. Old orbital cannons fired once more, their barrels glowing white-hot, and when Elias launched into the air and punched through the Varkari command barge, tearing the warlord in half with Ares' molten blade, the tide turned. Aftermath, the war wasn't over, not yet. But it had changed. The legend of Captain Elias Trent was no longer a myth. He had returned more than a man, less than a god, and carrying the fury of 3 centuries in every blow. He stood before the ruins of Titan's Gate, staring up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Varkari Council prepared their retaliation. But now they would hesitate. Now they would fear, because their ancient enemy had awoken, and he remembered everything